1988 was an interesting year. It saw the birth of the first test tube quintuplets born in Royal Oak, Michigan. Phantom of the Opera had premiered at the Majestic Theater in New York City, becoming the longest-running show on Broadway, with the then record-setting $18 million in pre-sale tickets. Rain Man, starring Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman, brought in $350 million at the box office, and Die Hard came out, cementing Bruce Willis as one of Hollywood's A-list men and making it a Christmas movie classic. The Formula One season was utterly dominated by the McLaren Honda team and its iconic MP4/4, with drivers Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost winning 15 of the 16 races that year. And over in Wolfsburg, Germany, a new variant of the GLI MK2 was ready to make its debut. Released in 1988, the MK2 Jetta GLI was carefully crafted to meet the demand of the time. A quick, punchy car made for fun driving and an Autobahn-like experience. It offered drivers and enthusiasts alike a 1.8-liter, 16-valve, inline-4 engine, delivering around 110 to 115 horsepower, with the standard manual transmission making it the perfect way to enjoy life on the road. Welcome to the Throttle Culture podcast, a space where design, history, and emotion meet horsepower. We celebrate the stories behind the builds and the people who see more than just a car. They see a connection. This week's story is all about the Green Machine, a little German-engineered beast who taught a couple of guys a quick lesson that honestly, everybody should learn at least once in their lives. The MK2 Jetta GLI is as cool and as classic as they come. They have their own cult following and really stand out in a league of their own. So let's get into it. See, Frank has loved cars for as long as anyone can remember. And not just the shiny stuff, the posters, the catalogs, the big horsepower. He loved the smell of grease and the hot metal, the clatter of tools hitting concrete, the way an engine's idle could sound like a heartbeat. To him, cars aren't just machines, they're stories. He could lose himself and talk for hours about what made one exhaust sound different from another. And his buddy Nick understood that. And Nick wasn't the spec sheet type of guy either. He's energy, boldness, the guy who says, fuck it, let's just drive it, before Frank even thought about the risk. Where Frank is patience, Nick is momentum, and that balance is why their friendship always worked and why they felt like brothers. Most of their best memories were built on late-night drives and the laughter that only comes when an old engine finally coughs back to life. But there is one thing that Frank has never done, and that's drive stick. But that changed the day Nick pulled into his driveway in a sputtering, sun-faded, green 1988 VW Jetta GLI, boxy, loud, and holding itself together with more hope than hardware. The year is now something like 2005, 2006, so this Jetta has had a decent life over the last 18 years. The paint was sun-faded and chipped, the bumper slightly crooked, and the driver's side door creaked like a haunted house. But Nick looked proud as hell. Frank named it the Green Machine, patting it on the top like it's a loyal dog. 1.8, 16-valve, 5-speed, all 115 horsepower. She's a beast, he says. Sidebar, the 1988 Volkswagen Jetta GLI is a special variant of the popular compact sedan from Volkswagen. The Jetta GLI in general was designed to offer sportier performance and features compared to the regular Jetta models. Here's a breakdown of the key aspects of the 88 Jetta GLI. The 88 Jetta GLI came equipped with a 1.8-liter 16-valve inline-4 engine, delivering around 110 to 115 horsepower. Got a 5-speed manual transmission, which was standard, which enhanced the driving experience with more control, while an automatic transmission was also available as an option. It featured a sportier suspension setup compared to regular Jettas, often a lowered stance and stiffer springs, which provide improved handling and a more athletic ride. And the GLI typically came with disc brakes all around, offering better braking performance over the standard drum brakes on regular Jettas. And one of the most iconic features of the GLI, inside it came with sportier touches like Recaro-style seats, sometimes even with plaid fabric inserts. The GLI edition also had some special trim touches like leather-wrapped steering wheels and the shift knobs. And the GLI included a sportier gauge cluster, tachometer, oil temperature, and other performance-focused readouts. Now, Benny was there too, circling the car with its eyebrows raised. Looks like she caught tetanus. Yeah, Nick grinned, but she's got soul. And she's how Frank's finally going to learn how to drive stick. Now, Benny's the kind of guy that you hear before you see, right? Loud, slick, always a little extra. He's got gold chains that clink when he moves, and his hair gel is strong enough to survive a hurricane. He's got a wardrobe that's heavy on the tight shirts and spotless white sneakers. And he loves to talk big about cars, about girls, about anything. But under all that bravado, Benny's got a heart. And he's not a detail guy like Frank and not as daring as Nick, but he's more of the hype man. He's the one cracking jokes when things get tense. The guy who can turn a broken down car story into something worth laughing about. And to the crew, Benny was chaos doused in cologne, but he was their own. And no night was boring with him in the backseat. About time, Benny said. I've known how to drive stick since I was 8. Nick shot him a look. They headed to the lot behind the elementary school where weeds split through pavement and seagulls screamed like something out of an apocalypse movie. Benny flopped onto the back seat with the wet squish. Dude, the sunroof's leaking. I'm stepping in a puddle. These are fresh Jordans. Whoops, Nick says. I'm getting trench foot over here, Benny groans, wringing out his sock. Meanwhile, Frank's gripping the wheel like it might bite. All right, Nick said. Clutch in, first gear, easy on the gas. Frank gives him a nod, but his heart is hammering. He lets the clutch out, presses the gas, and stalls hard. Again, Nick says, grinning. Second try, stall. Third try, stall. This car hates me, Frank muttered. No, man, Nick said, still smiling. Feel for the bite. That's when Benny leaned forward, soggy shoe squishing. Step aside, amateurs. Let a real driver show you how it's done. He swaps places with Frank, adjusted the seat, cracked his knuckles like he was auditioning for Fast and Furious. So clutch in, first gear, gas. The green machine lurched forward a foot, coughed, and died. Benny blinks. That was a fluke. Second try, same stall. Third try, he revved it like a dragster. The car bunny hopped, wheezed, and shut off. Silence. Then Benny climbs out. Anyway, I remember I hated German engineering. This car sucks. Probably needs a new clutch. You got this, Frank. It took time and stalls and more than a few curse words, but slowly, Frank started to feel it. The clutch's bite point, the rhythm of gas and release. The green machine stuttered, rolled, and finally, it flowed. He looped the lot, shifting clean, laughing out loud as the car hummed its raspy approval. Nick pounded the dash with pride. Benny cheered from the back, holding his wet shoe out the window like a victory flag. But Nick wasn't done. One more test, he said. Let's hit the hill. Now, the hill was infamous. It's a stop sign at the top of a steep incline, known for humiliating new stick drivers. Frank swallows hard. They roll into the stop. A car pulls up behind them. The pressure is rising. Hold the brake, Nick coached. Clutch in, first gear. Now, when you feel it bite, ease off the brake and roll. Frank exhales, steady. He felt the clutch catch, gives it gas, and the Jetta shudders, and then it surges forward, smooth, no stall, no rollback. Nick whooped, yes, you freaking did it, dude. Benny bangs on the roof with his soggy sock. We're alive! The green machine rumbles down the road like a beat-up champion, leaky sunroof, squeaky suspension and all. Frank loosened his death grip on the wheel, smiling wider than he had in years. He finally cracked the code, and it wasn't just the Jetta that made it happen. It was Nick's patience, Benny's chaos, and the bond they all shared, brothers tied together by busted cars and dumb adventures. And as the night air rushed through the cracked windows, Frank let it sink in. He did it. And that's the story of the green machine. It's more than just sheet metal and horsepower. It's a reminder of what happens when creativity, obsession, and a little stubbornness get caught up in the garage. These cars, these builds, they're not just transportation. They're time capsules, personal statements, rolling pieces of art. If you've been vibing with this story, make sure to follow Throttle Culture on socials, share this episode with your crew, and let us know what the next story should be. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about the car, it's about the culture that drives it. Thanks for listening and stay tuned for the next ride.